Hello, I'm the official name rater. My job is to look through the first page of Google, review the nicknames provided by the internet, and then give my recommendations at the end. Today we're looking over Makuhita, Hariyama, and easily the most over-fucking used Pokemon in every single terror raid that every fucking child wants to use 100% of the time, Iron Hands. I don't mind if you want to use Iron Hands in a terror raid if it makes fucking sense. If you are using an Iron Hands and you are fighting a ground type or a psychic type or something that beats what the fuck you are, don't fucking use it, you stupid bitch. Stop wild charging into a fucking Pokemon and fainting and costing us the terror raid, you inbred fuckhead. There are other Pokemon out there. Use it when it's applicable. Anyway, now that I got my passionate rant out of the way, we're redoing this episode because at the time, Iron Hands didn't exist and the world was a better place. This original video was created in November of 2020, so it's been 4 years. It will be linked in the description below if you care to view that. I could be wrong, my memory's a little bit fuzzy, but I think Mockit was the name of an in-game trade you get in Ruby Sapphire. I think it's like, what's the rock town with the rock gym? That one. You go there and you can trade and you can get a Makuhita to fight the rock gym if you don't already have something. And I think it's named that. As you can tell, I don't remember much of Gen 3, at all. It didn't stay with me, which is weird because I love the shit out of Omega and Alpha. Strong Mad, I actually think that's kind of a clever pun. I like that one. I don't remember highlighting this one at all, but, Strong Bad and Strong Mad. I think you could also realistically apply that to Primeape. I think that would probably be a better choice for it. I don't Dragon Ball, but if you care about the Kamehamehas, sure, what the fuck ever. Alright, so here we have two different fighters, Muhammad Ali, which I feel like might fit. I don't know how to spell fucking Muhammad. I don't mind that as an idea, but I think maybe not on Hariyama is a better place to put that. And then down here is McGregor for Conor McGregor, which I think I heard he's an asshole or something like that. But if you care for those nicknames, sure, why not? Mr. Miyagi, the karate teacher from Karate Kid. I actually like that one. I think it works better if you can teach him coaching. Then it works even better. I like that idea. I don't know if I feel like there's a particular Pokemon that would fit that best. I feel like, is there a fighting type Pokemon that's not offensive but defensive? Focuses on support, that would be where I would put that. But I don't think such a Pokemon exists. I don't think we have a purely defensive fighting Pokemon. Yokozuna, highest rank a sumo wrestler can have. You know what? Black Belt itself exists as an item, so I guess we wouldn't use that. And it's also a trainer class, I think, too. So I guess that's the difference. But Yokozuna also makes me think of the professional wrestler who went by that name. It's funny because he's Samoan, not Japanese. I'm fine with that as a name. It is kind of calling it what it's based off of, but a little bit different. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. I guess it would be kind of like calling your Revavroom Toyota, because it's a car, not a car engine. So it's this is the rank in Sumo, not calling it Sumo. Boo is something I mentioned Majin Buu in the original video, and I'm just hi, I don't Dragon Ball. Please stop shoving it in my face. So if this appeals to you, there you go. E-Honda from Street Fighter, there's another one. I don't Street Fighter, but if that applies to you. Odd Job, paired with a Feraligatr named Jaws. I like what you're doing, but I don't think it fits here. I feel like you're putting it there because you're under the assumption that Hariyama is Asian, which Hariyama is based off Japanese. I'm pretty sure Odd Job is Chinese. Could be wrong, but I'm 99% positive Oddjob is meant to be a Chinese character. I don't know who Oddjob himself would fit. I personally put it on my Malamar just because it's such a weird-ass Pokemon, and that was pretty much the extent of it. Powerhouse is not the worst nickname, but it's not exactly one that I'm oh, hell yeah, love that! Brawly, after Signature Trainer, that one's worth highlighting as well. Realistically, I guess if you can think of because don't they do that in Pokemon Masters? Every single trainer has their signature Pokemon with them, so I guess Brawly would have a Hariyama or a Makuhita with him. Which, by the way, fun fact, in the anime, Brawly's Hariyama is 3 foot tall, even though canonically Hariyama is supposed to be 6 foot. Rikishi is another one I mentioned at the end of the original video, and I'm like, I like that idea, and I still do. That one's another, is usually associated with a novice sumo wrestler. Didn't know that. I just know of Rikishi off of, professional wrestling. He's also Samoan. But I like that as a nickname. Always kind of loved his theme song back when he was tagging with Scotty 2 Hotty, so if that has something to do with sumo, cool, I learned something. Roundhouse is not a bad idea for a nickname, but I think if you're going to do that, a roundhouse is usually a roundhouse kick, which is going to be associated with Hitmon Lee. Same goes with kickboxing. I think we're kind of confusing the martial art here. We're somehow getting kicking with sumo wrestling. Rampage can work generic Binding of Isaac Bayonetta style nickname. Personally, I'm going to think of the video game franchise where it's like Godzilla based and you play as dinosaur and the goal is to destroy everything. But you could put it wherever the fuck you want. Lesnar is another professional wrestler. He's built very big. He's not a sumo wrestler, but he is large. You know who else is also large? Big Show. There's another idea for you. Alright, Riley, you're setting the bar very high for yourself with this fucking description. You better fucking live up to it. Ho and Heavy is not one I would use, but I will give her props for, because here I am, I'm like, this looks like some AI bullshit. But Ho and Heavy, and the fact that Makuhita, Mighty Makuhita is right there, I'm like, maybe it's not AI, maybe there was some actual human thought put into this. I don't like Thrust Titan. I really don't like Thrust Titan. Juggernaut as itself is not a bad idea. We've seen that in the past before. That's usually in reference to, like, what's it, Marvel, but also I think it's like a character in a fighting game as well. It might be like probably Marvel versus Capcom or something. Alright, I no longer believe her. Belly bump is do you know what a belly bump is, Riley? Riley, have you met another woman? Riley, are you even another woman? Alright, we're done at Guffaw Giant, Chuckling Champion. Toru! In the original video, I actually talked about how no one has mentioned this. When was this posted? 10 years ago, definitely before I did it. So I don't know, maybe we didn't come across this link or I didn't see it or something. But Toru is one that, like, was one of my first ideas because it just, it's there and it's obvious, but it also feels kind of like too obvious. And you're like, oh, but everyone's gonna do that. But as I've learned, I'm like the only fucking person in the world who is obsessed with that show, and that's it. So that works. I could use it. It just always felt too on the nose for me, so I never did. Another one in that same vein is Tubimura from Shaolin Showdown. That was another first thought I had as a kid, but again, it just felt too obvious. I'm not going to shit on Cookie Monster, but I am going to say maybe somewhere else. I don't know who it would fit. So that's the bottom as far as Hariyama and Makuhita. We're going to take a look at the comment suggestions here. That says 6 minutes. I don't know, I feel like I've just been... I don't know, it feels like these remake episodes are always so fucking long, and I'm just like, why though? Ramen Tonkatsu. I don't mind that idea because that's kind of leaning into the Japanese culture part, and I think that's a great one. Who is the fucking guy in Travis Strikes Again? There's a ramen stand, and I don't remember that guy's name. I'm going to have to look it up. Okay, there's sumo terminology if that applies to you. I was also thinking, but I don't fucking remember, the names of sumo wrestlers. That's another one that is like there, so if you're heavily into sumo or can think of anyone... we were doing other things like professional wrestlers, but not actual sumo wrestlers for whatever reason. Muscle Milk I actually really like. I think that one's just kind of funny. Like, you could use that as a generic fighting type nickname and put it on anyone, or name it after some kind of protein powder or whatever, and that would work. Like, it's stupid, but it's also kind of funny. Also, a thing I noticed while I was starting this video was all of the iron Pokemon are in alphabetical order, with the exception of Treads. But like B, H, J, M, T, that's weird. It doesn't do this with the prehistoric Pokemon. Usually the pattern I notice is that, especially right here, that this is in National Dex order. So Primeape comes before Quagsire, who comes before Girafarig, Dunsparce, like that. They do that. And they even do that in Gen 4, back when they're like Magmortar, Electivire, etc. So that's why I think it's interesting that they do things differently here, because it's just kind of funny that it's in alphabetical order. Will Smith is in reference to the fact that he did a slap. High five's not a bad one. I feel like we might have seen that somewhere before, but I can't place where. Handroid is not a bad pun. Gotta give props to that one. Mine is Glover. I'm half and half on that one. That's in reference to like this really weird ass Nintendo 64 game where you play as the Hamburger Helper Glove. Not actually Hamburger Helper Glove, but might as fucking well be. If Hariyama was just a hand, I think I'd be more about it. But the fact that there's an entire extra part of him makes me not want to highlight it as much. I like God Hand, actually. That's a really interesting idea. I feel like I might have seen God Hand somewhere else. That's in reference to this really weird-ass PS2 game where you go through it, you learn these moves, and then at the very end of the game, they take away all of your abilities. It's an interesting look into. I really like God Hand. War Machine, I feel like we've seen this recently, or if not, I've at least heard it quite a bit recently. That's Marvel. So I feel like that's a nice name that kind of parallels Iron Man in a way that is easier to use as a nickname. You know, it's hard to use Iron Man as a nickname. It's easy to use War Machine as a nickname. A reminder, I'm not a Transformers guy, but I actually think if you could do a Transformers thematic with the future Paradox Pokemon, that's a really cool idea because they're all robots anyway, so that works really well. I don't remember much of the Transformers movies. I remember watching them, but like nothing is in my fucking brain anymore. So yeah, Nitro Zeus doesn't sound familiar to me, but I'll give it props for at least being a unique enough name. We saw Chrome Dome recently. It was probably the fucking Sandy Shocks episode, and that one works as a nice Steel type nickname. So you could put that on there. It doesn't matter that it's technically not a Steel type. It's still robotic. I guess this is the card that they're referring to, because I don't see anything else really busting through a wall. So that's an interesting idea. You know, props for originality, I guess. I have no idea what Hero Man is in reference to, but I kind of like the name Hero Man. It sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh card, honestly. Before I leave this Reddit, I also want to give a props to Harry Mech as a alternative official name for the Iron Hands. One Punch Man we see every now and again. There's nothing really too much to say about it that hasn't already been said. Overdrive, we've mentioned this quite a bit recently. Thor Hammer's down below. Raiden's down below. Raiden, I'm going to put on Electros first. Silver Surfer we saw recently, and I don't mind that as an idea, but I don't know who I would put it on. Probably not Sumo Man. Balrog is another Street Fighter, I'm pretty sure, so there's another one for you. Taser, there's another generic electric type nickname we see all the time. Taserface if you want a Guardians of the Galaxy reference. Stallone and Mayweather, more fighters that we've been seeing quite a bit of. I think I like Harry Wada because it rolls off the tongue the same way Hariyama does. Robo-Yama's a nice alternative if you want it to be just something simpler sounded. Okay, that's that then. We've reached the bottom. So Warhammer is there twice in between that. And then this is right here. No. No. I don't know what the fuck that is. This is not a Pokemon either. This is just Will Smith. So when they were like, oh, this is such a funny nickname. I don't know. I was expecting something actually funny. So I didn't get that. It's fine. We looked over a lot. Admittedly, I had to take a moment to step away because I didn't want to, never mind. Anyway, comment suggestions. E-Honda, we saw E-Honda quite a bit. Jazz Hands, this is surprisingly the first time we've seen that. Catch 'em, catch these hands, that's been a fucking joke I've seen quite a bit, and I promise you, it's not gonna last the test of time. Give it like 5 years and you will look back at this nickname and cry yourself to sleep and be like, wow, I'm such a stupid bitch, why did I name it that? So don't do that. Memes are never a good idea. Chrome Dome we talked about, and that's that as far as comment suggestions. I'm really surprised this wasn't insanely obvious, and this was another one kind of like Iron Moth where I thought about it and I was like, oh, I wasn't sure how I want to do the Paradox Pokemon because I have an idea for Iron Hands that I feel won't work for Hariyama. Rayman. Why did no one think of Rayman? This dude has the floating hands. You know who else has floating hands? Rayman! You guys live under a fucking rock? We just talked about it not that long ago with Clodsire. The other really, really good Iron Hand suggestion is going to be God Hand for sure. That one I really love. As far as Makuhita stuff, I mean, I'm just going to re-highlight the stuff I said in the original video, which was Rikishi, Tabimura, Toru. I also mentioned Yokozuna in that one, but I didn't write that down here. It's fine. Again, we got a lot of choices for you to go through. Just, do me a favor, and if you're thinking about using Iron Hands in a Terror Raid, think to yourself, is the Pokemon I'm fighting capable of killing me? And if the answer is yes, pick something else, you stupid bitch. Any other ideas and suggestions you have, feel free to put in the comments below. Give a thumbs up to the ones that you think are good. Let us know what you'd use or recommend.